Good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay.
And I am John Epteen. Welcome back.
Welcome. And today we are talking about savings, stocks, and strategies. This is week 19 of our ABCs of Wealth series. And so grab a pen, grab a paper, tell a friend, like this, share it, and we are going to get started in just a moment.
That's right. Looking forward to it.
Good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor, and I am joined as always by my mentor, coach, friend, Mr. John Epting Jr., senior and financial broker and financial and life strategist. How are you doing today, this evening, John?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to speaking on this topic a little bit.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you're here. Sorry for the delay to our audience. Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty. I thought I sent an email to one address and I sent it to a different one. So we got it sorted out. We're here, back in the business, back in the building, and continuing our series. So savings, stocks, and strategies. All right. So I wanted to use these terms this week as our S series of words because oftentimes when people are thinking about they're thinking about building wealth, right? There's different approaches to building wealth. So I wanted to discuss tonight the strategy really behind building wealth. And, one school of thought is save, right? Save the money, right? Save your way to wealth. And then the other mentality is to invest, right? So that's the stock. And so I just wanted to discuss those two different schools of thought, those different approaches to investing, and help people to understand the strategy behind both in terms of building wealth. So let's jump right into it. Well, let's first let us know, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been a great week. I mean, I can't complain. I've had gotten a, I guess, rekindle. My wife was in business with me. And now that she's off doing like some bucket list type stuff, even her clients I've taken up, so some of them it's time to do the annual reviews. It's time to do the reviews of the plans and stuff like that. So I'm being able to rekindle. I've met all of these people, but they had a closer relationship bond, I guess you would say, with my wife. So to be able to rekindle and learn them, like it's really fun learning new people. I guess I have a gift also of I can hear what they're not saying. It was really funny. Like last night, I was telling the husband that the husband's actually in the real estate business, and but he's kind of new to the real estate business. So and he's had a great year, like for a brand new rookie agent out the gate. Like he's had a great year.
Yeah.
And so I was, him and I were talking and kind of talking in shop. And I was telling him, hey, I guess one of, some of my agents believe that one of my gifts is I can hear what the clients aren't saying. And because sometimes they'll tell me what they're looking for, if you will, but I can hear the emotion behind it. And, so the wife, I guess she was testing me. She says, so what am I not saying? And I listed like 3 things real quick. And she was like, how the heck did you do that? I said, I promise you, this isn't something I worked on, okay? I try my best to be a good listener, but that part, come on, you can't work on that. Like,
yeah.
But I think it just like, and this is not a woman who is silent, right? Or lost for words, if you will. She was lost for words for a good 4 minutes. It was like, and him and I just kept talking, but in my spirit, I'm laughing like she really thought like I just said that. I don't just say stuff.
Wow.
So that was fun. It's been fun to kind of just be in my game, be in my world, and unapologetically, it's really cool. it's so different when you don't really have to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so much funner, I think. We don't have to really think about the outcome. So that's been a fun week for me. And then I get to spend some cool time with my wife. We're gonna have some really good time this weekend. We got some stuff planned for this weekend, and but yeah, just having a great week. How about you? Like, you're always moving. You're always busy and
Uh,
making things happen. But then also you're super mom. So tell
yeah.
me about your week. Forget my stupid.
Um.
My baby's 16. Like,
Um. I'm learning some life lessons as always.
those are
And
good.
in teaching some. I've definitely been like intentional. My daughter asked me the other day. She was like, "Mom, I feel like you're mad at me." And it's not
Okay.
anything like specific, but just sometimes I guess the tone that I take with her, or when I'm
Okay.
trying to impart certain information to her,
Got you.
and I'm like, no, I'm not mad at you. Sometimes I'm disappointed, or I might be frustrated, when I have to like tell you the same thing over and over and over again. Like,
Yeah.
you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you should know better, by now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just some of those just normal everyday challenges with being a parent, but
Mm-hmm.
it also helps me to like reflect and kind of see like where I need to prioritize more of my attention. I'm not gonna say so much more of my time, but more of my attention.
Okay.
Because I do want to be intentional about parenting, um,
Okay, that's good.
and,
Yeah.
and knowing that I can't be everywhere at once and I can't be everything to
Yes.
everybody. So
Please
uh,
learn that lesson. Yeah.
yeah, just taking some time to reflect and recognize that I may need to take a step back in some areas so that I can be more present in others that are more
Very
of a
good.
priority. So
I'm so glad you said
yeah,
that. Many people aren't present. And
yeah.
I was at the gym today, and one of the men I'd recently met, right? Him and another guy work out together, and they kind of interrupted my workout last week, and we chopped it up, and it was actually a great time. I'm kind of glad they interrupted me. But man, one of the things him and I were talking about was being present. Like,
Yeah.
I learned it from Samuel Chan years ago. I'm not schizophrenic anymore. I'm not here thinking about over there. I'm not thinking about what my wife's doing right now that I'm on this call with you. No, I'm gonna be the best John I can be wherever I am. And it sounds easy, but it does take practice. Like, I've been practicing that for some years now, so it's easier for me. And
Yeah.
because, especially when you have pertinent things going on in your family, right? Mom's going through something, your family's going through something, right? My daughter's in the room behind me and stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's sometimes stuff kind of plays present in your head, right?
Mm,
But I think I'm cheating whoever I'm with at that time, uh,
right.
of my God-given gifts and abilities that they may need and want at that time. So I try my best to be present wherever I am. I'm not thinking of somewhere else. It's not, I'm sure it pisses some people off because, well, we live in a world today where everybody thinks the world revolves around them. Like,
Mm,
they're the most important thing or whatever. And even if they try to act like, oh no, I'm not that important, they still act like it, right? When somebody calls my phone, back to back, what made you, like, what put in your brain that you were that important, right? Leave a message. And which is funny. One of the guys I was talking about at the gym, um, one of the guys is older, right? So he's 71,
mm,
and he doesn't really use the phone that much. He doesn't really. So apparently, the day after we met, he wanted to get me something, and he called me. Right, so he called me, didn't leave a message. Called me, didn't leave a message. Called me, didn't leave a message. And I had a speaking engagement to do, and then after that, I did my life. Right, and then Sunday, right, I had several people call me, text me. Right, I was hanging out with my wife. I'm doing my life. I'm present with her. Right,
mm-hmm.
and so I know that probably ticks some people off. But when I talked to one of the guys at the gym today, I was just told him, in my mind, if you don't leave a message when you call me, you figured it out on your own, and it wasn't that important.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm not. You should have saw the missed calls on my phone over the weekend. I'm not going back and trying to call all of them. Oh, what did you need? No, sorry, you're not. If my mom calls, my daughter calls, my wife calls.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else kind of knows to text me or something.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what?
No, I get it.
But that's the world we live in, right? So I really appreciate you talking about being present in whatever capacity. Motherhood, yes, of course you should be present. But even in whatever endeavors you are, you should just be present. And I promise you, you feel better about what you're doing when you're like that too.
Yes, absolutely. And it comes with like setting boundaries, right? Like that's I'm
which has been tough for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting better, and
I noticed.
I'm working with the coach, and even something as simple as like setting boundaries with my time, so that I stop things so that I can transition to the next thing. That's the most difficult because I just want to get stuff done. Like, can I just finish what I started? But then, it rolls over into something else that, then I'm starting that late, and then I'm not present, because then everything is just kind of a snowball effect. So learning to stop and pick it back up later.
Totally get it.
That's tough. That's the toughest thing. It's just like, it's having so many other priorities. It's like, all right, I need to cut some stuff out so that I can invest more time in the things that I want to finish, right? Like the things that I want to. So, yeah, just working through that in this season. So let's go ahead and get into this topic for this week: saving, stocks, and strategies. I could have thrown seasons in there, right? Like that. I mean, we can tie that in as well, because
I like talking about seasons anyway. But
absolutely,
totally get it.
So strategies, savings, and stocks. All right. So, I mentioned early on that the mindset when it comes to investing or building wealth, there's a savings mindset, right? That you're going to save your way to wealth. And then there's the investing mindset where you got to like invest and get your money. Can you dispel, right, the myth first about saving your way to wealth? And why that may not be the an ideal strategy for building wealth, and why it's important to also invest along with that.
Okay, I'm glad you asked. I'm probably going to shock you though. First of all, I think people individually, I'm not going to do it, individually need to ask themselves what is wealth to them. Right? It's kind of like asking yourself what is success to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because all of us have a different measuring stick, right? To some people, wealth is 100 million. To some people, $1 million is wealth to them, right? So you got to define what that is first, right? And depending on how low it is, maybe you could save your way to it. I do know a couple who saved $1 million. All right? So they saved. Like, matter of fact, both of them worked. And they lived on 60% of one of their incomes.
Oh, wow.
Right? So the female spouse in this particular case is the one that they saved 100% of her income. 100%. Right? You do that for 30 years. Who's to know? And literally in savings accounts, like money market accounts, CDs. Seriously, which was totally crazy to me when I met them, but they did it. Like, it's like, what am I gonna argue with, right? Now, of course, they had wished they had met me, X number of years prior, right? Their son is our client now. They have adult son, and so of course, that's the type of stuff they tell my wife and I. Oh my God, I wish we had met you. Man, can we do this? Oh my gosh, right? Okay, but in my mind, you still did it.
Yeah.
Right? So I wasn't going to bash them. I wasn't going to belittle them, make them feel bad because they didn't know what I knew or they didn't have the products and stuff that I could have put them in. No, they still did it.
Yeah.
Right? And they didn't look like they were hurting. They didn't look like they lived like they only ate oodles and noodles and sardines, and which is sardines actually expensive now, but to me. But you know what I'm saying?
They
So
came up with a strategy that worked
yeah,
for them, and they
yes.
executed it,
Now,
implemented it.
is
Yeah.
that normal? No, it's very abnormal, right? Almost any measure of wealth, right? I don't think you're gonna get there saving, right? But investing, that's where investing starts coming in, right? Putting your money to work for you, making sure it's doing something. When you're investing, you should be outpacing inflation. And then another part of that should be you should try to minimize taxation. So outpace inflation, minimize taxation, right? In stocks, right? Exchange traded funds, index funds. So a bunch of different ways. Of course, crypto now, right? So it's a bunch of different ways to do this. And one of the things I would admonish to you, I don't think there's going to be a long talk tonight, right? One of the things I would admonish to people is the best investment you can do to grow wealth is to invest in yourself. So invest in your knowledge. Like it's a lot of people getting into stock now, right? And it's some. I'm just gonna say it. It's some naive people. Like I've talked to them that believe, like mind you, they just started investing somewhere a year ago, right? So they think it's all blue skies. It's always gonna be like this, and it's gonna. You have to wake up. Somebody has to wake them up, like because this is not how. No, I mean, come on. Even in the last 2 years, we've seen dips, right? And everybody's talking these. I buy the dips, and right, like you have a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball, right? And even the people who are buying stocks doing very well, they have a strategy.
Yeah.
They're not just playing, right? They kind of know what they're looking for in the companies they're investing with, investing in, and it's a whole thing, okay? And so people you gotta have a strategy. It's really not about the stocks. It's really not about the ETFs or the index funds or any of that stuff. It's about your strategy. It's about your strategy. It's about your plan. And if you have a solid plan, then you can probably get to the number, the wealth, and you should have a number, right? Now, don't let that number be the end all, the be all, right? You should be trying to hit that number long before your you know date, and then increase the number. Okay.
Right.
But that's really what it's about. You got to have a strategy. This isn't play, right? You got to have a plan. You got to know what you're aiming for, right? We in our firm we call it your financial independence number, right? I've also heard it called the FU number, right? What's the number you need to be able to tell everybody else, F you, man? I know what I want when I want, whatever I want, right? What's that number? And I think that number should be so big. I'm a person of faith, right? The number should be so big that you can't achieve it on your own. You need God to step in and do something, right? It should be so big that once you actually achieve it, everybody around you, especially your sphere of influence, look at you and go, "Oh, that had to be God." Right? Majid is not that smart. John's not that smart. Right? Because if the number, this is why I say that. If the number is so low, any goal, any dream you have, if it's so small that you can do it, you don't need faith.
Yeah.
And my life revolves around faith. I need faith. Most people don't know. It takes a lot of faith to stay married and stay faithful in our world today. Faith, right? Also, some character stuff in there. It's just some, partly for me, it's responsibility. I know it sounds really stupid, but I always think of how many people will I affect if I fall in this area. If I screw it up in this area, how many people will that affect? And at this point in my life, it will affect people I've never even met.
All right.
From what I understand, because apparently the loss of our daughter and the way we walked through that affected people we had never even met, which was totally weird to us. right? But we embrace that responsibility, right? And we've made mistakes in our marriage. We've had our issues, right? But I really think it's about how we bounce back from them, how we've overcome them, and are stronger today because of it.
That's good. That's good. It's all great things to think about. Something you mentioned, the idea of, having a number, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, we call it the financial independence number. Um, can you help the audience, those who are listening to this now or maybe in the future, help them figure out, like, how do you come up with that number? Like,
here's a simple one, without using any softwares or anything. All right, what number would you need to come in every year, every month, for you to live the lifestyle you want to live, right? And I, of course, I'm a dreamer, right? Not so I don't mind you making it as big as you want it to be, right? But also you gotta be willing to sacrifice to get to that number, right? So if you make the number so big, but then you want to save $50, $100, $300 a month, I mean, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure.
yeah.
And trust me, we've met them people, right? Oh, I want to retire in 3 years. They saved next to nothing, and they want to. What's the lowest I can put? As soon as you ask me that question, I know there's an issue.
Yeah.
So that tells me it's a mindset issue more than a pocket issue. So if somebody asks me the minimum they could put in, that's a mindset issue. That has nothing to do with your pocket.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with your income or any of that stuff. Right? That's a mindset. Right? Because they see it as a bill instead of an investment. Right? And let me back up. One of the things when I'm saying you need to invest in yourself, there's many programs and things that you can purchase or pay to be involved in, right? Whether it be $97, $297, $997, all this stuff on the internet, blah blah blah. And some of these guys know what they're talking about, okay? Right? Okay, be willing to pay that $1,000. Right? And some people, is it worth it? Are you worth it?
Yeah.
See, when I pay for something like that, I'm not thinking about is the program worth it. I'm asking, am I worth it? Am I worth me investing that much in me? I didn't give it to anybody. I invested in me. Right? And since that answer is almost always yes, I'm going to pay the money.
Right.
Right? At this point, for me, it's really about, do I have time to be involved in the program and really dedicate my attention to it? But if I'm trying to learn something new, especially if I can also help, like the programs I pay for, they actually help me serve my clients better. Right? Come on. So that's a return not just into me, that's also a return back into my business. Oh my God. Then I just become an even better resource for the families I serve. So, sorry, I just wanted to say that. But here's an easy one. How much you think it would cost? How much you think you want coming in every month? Or even lump sum. I'm gonna even act like you just want a lump sum number, right? But give me a number that you want coming in every month, and then I can reverse engineer that. So I'm gonna give the average American probably ain't thinking about this number, but right, I want to do cast vision to you, right? What if you had $17,765,000 saved? All right, cash sitting in some various accounts, and you could find a conservative portfolio. This is really conservative too, at 6%. All right. On an average, you can make a conservative portfolio that'll actually average you a good 7.1, 7.7%. But I'm gonna act like, hey, 6. Right? No, you should always go lower.
Yeah.
You should always, leave some room for error, right? So 6%. At $17.765 million saved with a 6% return, that's $1 million a year in passive income. Whether you wake up or not, $1 million come $20,000 a week. Does that make sense? So that's a number, right? Okay, you don't need that, right? So back it off, right? Okay, cut yours in half. Oh, I just need $500,000 coming in a year, John. Okay. Okay, I just need 100,000 coming in. Okay, use whatever your number is, man. Okay,
yeah.
$1.5 million, right? You got $1.5 million saved, right? Probably $1.65 million, right? So 1.65 million saved, right? 6% rate of return. That's about 100,000 a year. There you go. Bada boom, bada bing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that, Now, mind you, that might be in a brokerage account in which you may have to pay capital gains tax on that money, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if it is sitting in a Roth IRA, right, you got 5.2 million sitting in there, or 1.6, whatever it is. Okay, now you know that's tax-free income, right? But you got to figure out your number. Figure out your number. What's your number, right? Is it 30 million, right? And listen, many ways to do this, too. Many ways to do this, right? I worked with a client in North Carolina this past weekend. Many ways to do this. Let me just say it that way, right? So you can have a bunch of paid off properties, and the properties are paying you to, right? That's the way, right? Now, it's best to have a diversification. What if you have a bunch of properties, right? But then also you had some other stuff saved up and all the, right? It should be diversified, right? But it should be all part of the plan, all part of the strategy. And you do need to understand that they all affect each other.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I think of financial independence now. If you set a number, right? Higher probability you'll hit it. You don't have a number at all, you're probably not gonna get much. And I believe you should set a number so high you can't hit it. Hey, I'd rather what if you aim at nothing, right? So you set no number, right? And you arrive at only 700,000. But you set the number, you set a goal, right?
Yeah.
4 million. And you actually hit 3.2. Which one's better? Like, I'm just saying, some people are winging it, right? Matter of fact, the baby boomers are a good group of people who were really winging it. Unfortunately.
I set my number at 30 million.
Okay. It's a good number.
Personal net worth, long-term goal. Number. But my family's estate is worth over 100 million.
Okay. That's a good round. See, for me, right, my FU number, right, is just cash. That's for me, though.
Yeah.
Right? It's just cash. That's just cash. So the real estate go to crap. All the other stuff go to crap, right? I still got X number coming in. Passive. Not thinking about it. Coming in. Right? If I can coerce my wife to stay in the bed with me for 12 months straight, January 1. Hey, babe, just stay in the bed. Let's not even leave the house for the next 12 months. We already know this is coming in. Right? 7 figures is coming in. Right? So, now, both of us are a little weird. We'll probably never do that. We couldn't do it. We could do it for 2 good days, though. We've learned to kind of not be as I don't want to say not as driven, but to relish the time we have together. We've learned to just, and I literally shut the world out. We were driving down the street Sunday. Somebody who had been trying to get a hold of me, their name come across the screen in my car. Right? I got the controls on the steering wheel. Ignore. Now somebody, oh my God, that's so bad. There's nobody walking the planet more important than my wife. They're not walking and I'm talking about for me.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody else has their own person, right? Their own people, if you will, but there's nobody walking the planet more important than my wife. This dog is pretty special. Charlie's pretty cool, but ain't more important than Yabby. Right? I adore my 16-year-old. Like, adore her. Like, it irritates me how much I adore her. It's like, ugh. Stick me. Right? Still not more important than my wife. So now when it's time to grind, it's time to grind. Like even my wife, we have these rules, right? So we look at each other's calendar. Let's say I wanted to call her and she might be in an appointment of this, doing this, whatever the case may be. Before I call, I go, where's she at? Right? She does the same thing. He has a 3:00 appointment. I can't, right? It's 3:14. Oh, I can't call him right now. He's in an appointment. Right? She's being respectful of the other person's time. Can you believe that? Now, she doesn't even have to. She has carte blanche not to. Right? And she's still that respectful. My daughter too. Right? So we got a little system. They know if I'm in a meeting and they call, they know it's going to go to voicemail. And they kind of know, we have a system. They know what to do to get my attention. Right? And if those series of things play out, then I know that was an emergency. I need to pick up the phone. And then I'm just very polite. I just say, hey, I appreciate you guys' time, but I need to make a quick call, or I need to take this call. Right? And most people are just like, oh, no problem. No big deal. Right? Believe it or not, that comes from knowing your worth.
Yeah.
So you got to know your worth long before you're that worth, really.
Oh, that's good.
And you got to know what's important in life too. So I'm not as young as I used to be. Right. So I just had a birthday, and you kind of, I used to always hear people, oh, you have a midlife crisis, and I'm not having a midlife crisis. I don't. That part's not an issue, right? At least not yet. I don't know if I will, but I'm not. That's whatever, right? But I am reflecting a lot more. I'm reflecting on what's important, right? I'm reflecting on, right? I'm setting some new goals and deadlines for myself that are kind of non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to go into a fasting and praying season where I just want a little bit more clarity on some of those things that I'm setting up, right? Just to make sure I'm on God's agenda and not on my own, because I'm a driven dude, so I can easily try to ask God to get on my agenda. And trust me, I've done this before. It's so stupid and it always blows up. But now at my age and my level of maturity, I don't ever want to be on my agenda now. I want to be on His agenda. It's just where I am in my life. And I hope people will get there in their life, that they want to be on God's agenda. I don't read the Bible to make it say what I want it to say. I'm trying to follow what it says. And sometimes it's not pray for your enemies. I promise you that I've read that I don't know how many times in 50 years of my life. Still not easy to do. Yeah, but I do it. Actually, the funny thing is, my wife noticed a few years ago that I don't pray for me much. I pray for all these other people, good, friends and foe, right? But yeah, she just know. Actually, my therapist, I think she brought it up to my therapist, or I can't remember how it came back to me. They're like, I literally forget to pray for me, right? And I think my therapist said it's like I almost don't feel I deserve to ask for anything from me. Now I'm still working on that. So that was over a year ago. I learned that, and I didn't realize it. I got this list of people in my phone. I'm praying for each one. I'm saying their name. Your family. I get to the end. I ain't asked for nothing for me. My health. Protect my daughter and my wife when I'm not with them. That type of stuff. But I don't ask them for I ask them to help my clients' stuff grow and do well, but I don't pray for my business. Isn't that crazy?
A little bit.
Oh, crazy. Right. But I guess my brain said, well, if my client stuff do well. No,
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it. Isn't that funny?
Well, hey, we
That's
all
why you
have.
got to surround yourself with people who will tell you about you, good or bad.
So true.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing the good, but like you did something to me this week. You sent me something this week, and I was like, what?
Well, we had talked about it last week.
Yeah.
About having more than one skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could use that.
That was fun. I'm gonna do the same thing to you though.
Oh.
It's just been a busy week, but I've been thinking about it the whole time. Actually, when you sent it to me, I was on a call. I was on a meeting, Zoom type thing. I was trying to be attentive. I was trying to be present. And I looked down and I glanced at it real quick. I was like, "What the heck?" But it was pretty cool. I thank you for that.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah.
So hey, let's talk about this before we get off. What season are you in? I know that's not in our title, but let's tie in season, right? So let's talk about like the seasons of building wealth, right? Like I know we talk about it sometimes in terms of the accumulation phase, the distribution phase, but
those are
about kind of tie the seasons in with a strategy for saving and investing.
Yeah, well, I'll say it for this way. When you're building your wealth, it depends on where you are, right? So if you don't already have an emergency fund, you don't already have the basic things set up, right? Ample amount of life insurance and things like that. Then you're in spring, if you will, right? You dang sure ain't ready for winter, right? So that's just the deal, right? Let's be honest. When it's winter time, right, and we're talking about building wealth. When it's winter time, you don't want to work. You don't want to leave the house.
Hibernate.
Is that true?
I want to hibernate. Yes.
So think about when you so-called retire. Of course, that's not in the Bible anywhere. But when you retire, right? That's normally in the winter of your life.
Yeah.
Right, and hopefully you have ample saved. You have ample invested. Right, you have some passive incomes and things like that you kind of come in, and residual incomes, recurring incomes. Those are terms we use for us. Right, that's the winter. Right, so you got spring. Hey, you're just getting it started. Right. Matter of fact, guess what? What do you normally do in spring? You do some spring clean. Right. So this is the type of stuff you kind of cleaning out the stuff you don't really need, stuff you don't use anymore. I'm talking about financially. Right. Right. So that means, all the Netflix, Hulu, Apple Music, all the stuff that's coming out of your account, you probably should get rid of some of that stuff, maybe. Because if you think about it, how often do you really log into Paramount Plus, right? Or Disney Plus, right? Some people aren't doing that stuff, right? Guys probably should get rid of, the sports packages and stuff like that, because you're in the spring, right?
Yeah.
And when you get to fall or when you get to summer, you might be able to add those things back. There was a time when Yabby and I didn't have, well, we don't have cable now, but we didn't have cable. Now this was in the early 2000s. So, all the Hulus and the Netflix, I mean, we had Blockbuster. You see what I'm saying? Right. But, we're past that phase now, right? We're not, we ain't in the spring or summer of the wealth building part. We're not in the winter yet either, though. We're not in the winter. I don't want to. No, we're not in the winter. No, I don't even want to be in the winter. I still want to be growing it. I still want to be right. You think about that. That's when that's the summertime, right? Summertime is when things are growing. Right, that's the type of stuff. But normally in the summertime, you've already done the planting. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the fall comes around, you may be starting to harvest some. but you're replanting again too. Right, things like that. And this stuff is really just off of my chest, off the cuff. So
you're good at it. That's why I threw it out there.
But the wintertime is, and this is what I always tell people. God created your seasons, but you schedule them. Right. And whether I'm talking about your spiritual life, whether I'm talking about your marriage, whether I'm talking about your business, whatever, God creates them, but you schedule them. How long your spring will be is up to you. How long your summer will be is up to you. It's on you. Right? I stayed in spring way too long. Right? And that's because at first I wasn't being consistent, or I wasn't disciplined, if you will, stuff like that. Didn't do enough spring cleaning, right? I'm transparent with this stuff now.
Yeah, I'm definitely still in spring.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think I'm probably in fall now. No, I'm in spring. I'm in summer.
Summer. Still growing.
Right? But what I'm noticing, I stay in all my seasons too long. Right? But also I teach this stuff. So I probably should stay in seasons longer. So I have more empathy for other people.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
I have the foresight to be able to teach them what to do so they don't stay in their seat in certain seasons too long. And some of them just need to stay in seasons longer to learn. Some of us learn slower than others.
That would be me.
Right? I'm a hands-on learner, so for me, I have to go do it.
Same
I
here.
was telling somebody that today because he was asking me about crypto. He was asking me about a few different things, and he has my cell phone number, so he's allowed to shoot me a text. And I tell people all the time, man, you just have a silly question. If you think it's silly, text it to me, because there's no silly question. Right? The only silly question is the one you don't ask. So, because if you don't know, you don't know, right? But one of the things I was telling him, I said, you want to learn crypto? Put your money in it. I bet you figure it out.
Yep.
Right? I mean, if you're serious, like it's a bunch of people putting money in 401ks and they have no clue what that thing is doing. Right?
Yeah.
They have no clue they don't even know the history of it. Right? None of them done any research. How was it created? Why was it created? Right? What's the funds in it? They don't do none of that because their job gave it to them. So it must be good. But anyway, right? But I told him, hey, you want to learn crypto? Put money in it. Not just one of them. Put some money in a few of them. I bet you start studying. I bet you pay somebody to help you teach you, get involved in a program, something. It's very simple. And then sometimes the knowledge I have, I downplay it in certain areas because I know it's going to be a rabbit hole. So when people start asking me certain stuff, I just act like I don't know. Because I know it's going to be a rabbit hole. It's like, or I'm going to have to charge you. I'm going to have to. It's not my fault. I have to. Right? And then you can kind of gauge which people are willing to pay.
Yeah.
Right? You can kind of gauge it. It's like, they ain't willing to invest it. They're looking for a free ride.
I've realized something too. Some people don't necessarily want advice. They want want confirmation.
Yes. Oh my.
They don't want correction. They want confirmation. They want you to just
correction.
They want you to help them do what they want to do.
That's why they listen to the news stations they listen to. That's why they listen to the music. That's why they follow who they want to follow on Instagram and Facebook, and they want validation.
Yeah.
They do not want perspective. They don't.
Agreed. Because even this idea
how much that stagnates them from growing.
Right. Because even the idea of like stocks, like, all right, it's a way for your money to grow, right? But if you're throwing money in stocks and you don't understand how they work, you don't have a plan or you don't have a strategy, for what you're working towards, yes, you could make money, but you could also lose money. There was on the ballot last week. They were voting for putting this casino in Richmond, one casino. It's going to bring all these jobs and all this kind of stuff. Well, it didn't pass, but I had spoke to somebody somebody advised her to invest in the stock for that company that was bringing the casino here, with the notion that it would pass, right? Like if it passed, stock would go up, right? Well, it like dropped 50%. It was two different stocks. It dropped 50%. But there was like this sense of urgency to like get money in before election night, ended, to potentially take advantage of the growth. And it's just, it's just one of those things. Like people get advice from people that they look up to, or that they maybe consider well off. But
it would have been a win if it had passed.
If it had passed, right? But it ended up going the other way. Which, hey, if you still want to buy the stock, it's half price now, so you can get more shares. But
that's the dip. Buy the dip.
Yeah. But the idea that you need to have a strategy or a plan, to work towards something, right? Throwing money into stuff, if you don't have a plan, it's like rolling dice. You don't know what. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've had to do is actually like save less, because I was just on this kick, like, all right, just keep saving more. And so I was like out saving my income. Like, hold on, you need to pull back, save for where you are, not where you want to be, right? Like,
right.
Like you saving too much, you can't buy groceries. Stop saving.
That's a great. Listen, that's a great problem to have, right? Because that mindset will flourish into other things. You'll create new ways of making more, and that type of mindset. But the people who, what I said earlier, hey, what's the minimum? That's another mindset, right? And one's a wealthy mindset, one's a poverty mindset, right? And you just got to figure out which one you want to be. I'm not even bashing nobody who want to be poor.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I believe that's a selfish disposition. I also believe it's a selfish disposition that people who don't want to be wealthy. That's a selfish disposition, right? Because most people hear the word wealth and they think, oh, you got to drive a Bentley or, have a G-Wagon. No, nobody said that. Nobody said that. I know some wealthy people drive Toyota Camrys. Not even Avalon, Toyota Camry, right? It has a accurate MDX, right? I'm not really. I'm talking about some really, really well-off people, right? But what they do with it is other things. A Ferrari or a new Corvette isn't their thing, right? So for them, it's about them helping this, and if giving money to this ministry or giving money to this charity and things. That's what they do, right? Individually helping people, like paying somebody's rent for 6 months, right? Just to kind of give them a head start. That's the stuff that they do.
That's good. I heard.
Now I want to be so wealthy that I still get to drive a Bentley and I get to pay somebody mortgage for a year. You know what I'm saying? I want to do both.
Yeah. Hey.
Right.
You don't have to have either or. You can have both and.
Yes. You remember a time when I was like, I don't want a plane. I don't want a helicopter. That's changed. I want a freaking jet now. Right. I don't want to show no vaccination card. I don't want to wear a mask. Seriously, I'm not playing. That's so freaking serious to me right now. I want my own freaking jet. Right. And come and go as I please. I love my mom. Right, but she lives in a little bitty town in North Platte, Nebraska. I don't want her flying commercial. I don't want her to have to fly to Denver to fly into her town. I don't want that. She fly she fly the other direction just so she can fly back this way. No, absolutely not. So I want my own jet so she can fly into her town.
Correct.
Right? And she don't like to fly. So I think she'll feel more comfortable. Now I got some work to do to make that happen for her. Right? So hold on, Mom.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what I want. But remember, there was a time I was like, oh, that's a waste of money. Why would I spend $30 million? I could help somebody. I want both now.
Why
I want
not?
my everyday driver, my daily driver, to be a Bentley Flying Spur. There was a time I didn't even like Bentleys, but the new 2020, 2021, and 2022 Bentley, just the Flying Spur. I don't even like the other 2 or 3 that they have. That thing is sexy. It's a big sedan and it has power. It does 0 to 60 in like 4 point some seconds. I like unassuming cars. I like cars that you pull up next to. Oh, it's pretty. But if I want to take you, I can also take you at this light if I want to. Type of cars I like. That's why I like my boy Joey's car, right? He got an AMG Mercedes Benz, right? It's pretty. But they also take you. You got over 700 horses in this thing, right? That's the type of stuff I want. I mean, so when it comes to strategies, I got to build strategies for that type of stuff. Now you got to do it on your level, whatever yours is, right? Hopefully, some of you guys, hopefully most of you guys, is bigger than me. Hopefully, the stuff that you want is bigger than what I want, right? And hopefully, it's not just for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I believe God wants to get wealth to you, but first He needs to know He can get it through you. So hopefully, it's not gonna stay with you. Hopefully, it'll be beyond you and your family, right? You'll help make the world better with the resources you're blessed with, and I guess we can wrap it up with that, man. I don't know.
No, that's good. That's good. So, hey, for those that have been listening or you listen to this in the future, we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, we got some value out of this. And hey, go back, rewatch it, share with a friend. Yep. We are continuing our series. We've got 7 more weeks left in the year.
Something like that, yeah.
7 more weeks left in the year. So we're going to push through. We're going to make it happen. It's gonna be real interesting the next few weeks with the rest of these letters.
We're contemplating it, right? We think we're gonna make it happen, but we're contemplating it because guess what? Our health and our mental health is more important than this too. Yeah, we're gonna try our best to make it happen. Finish up the ABCs of wealth. Come up with some great topics just because we want to pour into people the things that we privy to learn. So
absolutely. And I like to finish what I start. So
absolutely.
We will
it's a habit.
Yes, absolutely. And like finishing things at the end of the year. You can start fresh. So
right. Oh, I'm already strategizing for 2022. Like
yeah, same here.
I got my eye on some stuff. Not material stuff, just goals. Right. Relationships. Actually, big time relationships. Yeah, cultivating some things. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. You're like really excited.
Well, hey, look, if you are looking for, and this is the time of year where you should be thinking about what your goals are, not just for next year, but for the next 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
50.
So if you want help with strategizing, coming up with a plan to execute and implement over the next few months for your future, you can definitely schedule a complimentary consultation with John or myself. Our links are at the bottom. Just put yourself on our calendar. We'll schedule time to sit down with you and help you figure out a strategy for your savings and investments moving forward. So that you go into the new year, right, with some momentum, right? You don't start the new year cold. So get started now, right? You don't have to wait till January 1 to create a plan or start to save. And you can start right now and build the momentum so that you're already moving forward. So we appreciate you tuning in.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
seeing you guys next week for week 20.
Yeah.
And
have a great week, everyone.
Absolutely.